I tend to look too much on Facebook. There's a lot of, at the moment, anti this and anti that and marches, especially in America. It's difficult to detach yourself from it and just look at it without getting angry yourself. So I just wondered how you sort of deal with that.
Um, well, again, the world does what it does. I'm indifferent to all that. Because I'm focused instead of, you might say, putting your energies there. I'm focused on what I'm doing with all the projects and the people, and especially the ones here with Kelsey and Henry and Val and others. I'm very focused on that. So, and then Ava, I'm with Ava 6 to 8 hours a day, every day. And so that's where I put my focus, and I'm positioned a particular way to where I see these things. Is that we're looking at the especially all over the world now. It's the school kids, or they're doing their school strike, and Ava showed me this, and the ones in Germany, etc. They don't allow homeschooling there, as an example. But these are all over. They're in Australia, and Henry was telling me they're down under, and they're just all kinds of demonstrations and things going on right now. Yes, because people are waking up. Actually, they're getting ready for the bigger picture that's coming here. That's a surprise, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But I see this, that they're actually getting ready, and they're being readied by the boys on the real side too. But the demonstrations and whatever, there's just people out there, having their say. And so I look at those, and I creatively try to figure out ways to become involved, to get noticed, to see if people are interested, and especially the one. Ava and I created a bunch of images and in a group and a website immediately in one day because of the school kids striking, because these kids are seeing what's happening with the environment, and they don't want it. They know it's their future, and they're really tired of it. They're tired of listening to the adults and whatever. So I'm putting it out there to see if we can kind of get the attention to bring them around to the homeschooling, and like Sandy has her show and whatever, and Mary, and getting them on there. So you look at it a little bit different. Yes, we've grown up with these things and things going on in the world. Well, it's okay. Just learn to be more objective and a little indifferent, and look at it to where, okay, how is it that I could creatively, present something to these people that makes sense, you might say, to help them out. You see? Yeah, you make it fun. Yeah, instead of just reacting to it.
Yeah, I find it difficult sometimes, especially if it's something I really care about. Sort of, I used to do sort of peace campaign marches and things in the past, but I have to try to be more objective and not scream at the monitor too much. Okay, I'll pass you
Well,
over to.
well, let me finish here. Let me say, Gwen, that no, you're fine. You just simply take that idea, instead of, you might say, putting it into an attitude, but all of a sudden you look at ways, because you do care. That's why you do react. So you recognize that. And so you put it into ways that would create a benefit. So it's not about marching. Those people are out there doing it, but now you know that it's not about that so much, but it's about awareness, isn't it? You see, these people are wanting to become more aware. And so they think through marching and demonstration and confronting the system. It's always confronting the system. You see, people look to the government, and they're looking for answers or resolve. That's not the way to do it. These are the slave traders. You're not going to get anything from them. This is why the new presentation as it is. I don't look to the government for anything, any resolve or whatever. It ain't going to happen. You see, that's what they want. They want you to look to them, and so that they can give you little milk and cookies once in a while to soothe you. But they like that. They like that reaction. They like to tell you what to do because they see they have the control. So it's not about the demonstration. It's about doing something that makes sense. And this is why I've created all these different aspects of the new presentation, so that people can get involved and express themselves with something that makes sense, instead of just going out there with a bunch of signs and picketing the government and demonstrating. You see, that always goes nowhere. You may get a few things across, but realistically, you'll have nothing, because it's a one-dimensional march, you see. It's not really about the issues, because the issues are all fake. They're all fake. Yes, things are happening, the wars and all this. Children are dying. Yeah, that's the real issue. How do you get to that? But the ideas that the government creates and whatever, they're all fake. And that is that what they're really doing, and they like people to demonstrate because that shows them that you're agreeing, even though you think you're disagreeing. You see? Yeah, so you look at it from a different angle, a better view that makes more sense. And that's what we're doing. We're showing people how to become more aware so they're not the effect and they don't have to go out and demonstrate, etc. Just look at it like this. What if the whole world was aware? Okay? They wouldn't need governments. They wouldn't need to demonstrate, would they? They'd be fine doing what they're doing, just like a bee colony or an ant colony. Hey, they don't do demonstrations. There's no government, you see? But see, people have agreed to this over eons to be ruled by the monarchy and the governments, etc. So now they got to deal with it. So it's at that point where you want to wake up and be creative and see what you can do, take on the challenge, or are you going to go with it and just go out there and demonstrate and be angry and upset and just grow older faster and take a lot of medication in the meantime, right?
Yeah, very true. Yes. Okay. Thank you for that. Sort of maybe a lot more things for me to think about.
Yeah, sweetie. So no, that's fine. Thank you for bringing that up because this is the world. It's not through, it is through that, but it's not. But again, look at the sun shining. The sun sees everything on the earth. Okay. And so as people have the awareness, they don't have to. Just the first step is for you to decide, are you going to agree with this or not? It's a really agreement. And at the same time, I look at these things as I take advantage of these. Like I said, the school strike, I make something fun and I want to see if I can get their attention to bring them around to the homeschool to where all of a sudden that the girls can talk to them and get them the new you and they can become more aware and look at the real side, you see? So you can take advantage of that situation too.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
That gives you something to do so you don't have time to be pissed off, right?
This is true. Yes. Thank you. I'll pass you back to Kevin.
You can kick your son once in a while. If you get upset, just kick him once in a while. He can take it.
Okay. Yeah, good idea. Thank you.
Yes, you can kick me later, but not now, while I'm on the mic. Okay. We still have a little bit of time, so I will share another experience or two. Okay. I was in my room and I was practicing being in a state of awareness. And whilst doing so, the room suddenly changed to an outdoors setting. And in the outdoor setting, the sun suddenly came up in the sky and it became brighter and brighter. And then I was back in my room, but simultaneously in the outdoor setting at the same time with the ever brightening sun in both my room and in the outdoor setting. And it got to the point where I thought to myself, I'm going to have to open my eyes and have a look and see if the sun's actually in my room because it seemed so tangible. And as I slowly opened my eyes, the sun faded away.
That's terrific. You should write that down, Kevin, and share that. That's just terrific. And that is that, yes, that's your real awareness with the whole of life. And you can just see the sun as the is, you might say. And your house all of a sudden disappears. Well, you surpassed the personal self. The house represents the personal self, you see. And then, but you went back and forth to give you the experience so that you can objectively see what's going on. And now the sun is shining in your personal self. And yeah, in the human part of ourselves, yeah, it's here, but this is all of a sudden you see the difference with your real awareness and the experience there. So it's using the house there as the personal self. So it's verifying that you have the real light with you. You see?
Okay, thank you. Yep, that's cool. Because I know you were saying that to practice being in a state of awareness, but then the idea being then to focus your awareness such that you can start to perceive the is, and I've sort of been trying to do that, and occasionally I'll get little sort of glimpses like that here and there, so it's quite good to see. It's quite fun to have the results, as it were. Yeah. Okay, I got another dream here. In this dream, it seemed I had an objective. I had to rescue an individual this time, and this individual was heavily guarded by an army of reptilians, and they were all wearing battle armor, and they were looking very mean indeed. And I was looking at this situation and thinking to myself, how exactly am I going to rescue this person from the clutches of these mean-looking armor-clad reptilians? And looking at the situation, I suddenly saw a bridge to the side, and it seemed to have less reptilians on it. And I thought, that seems a more viable means of approach, and possibly extraction of this individual. But just as I decided to make this attempt, I was suddenly attacked by a group of humans, and these were minions of the reptilians, and they all seemed to be dressed very barbarically, almost like Vikings, but they were also armed with guns, almost like muskets and throwing weapons, and then I looked down at my hands, and I suddenly saw that I also had a rifle, and then a huge firefight ensued between me and these Viking barbarian type chaps, and then I woke up.
Okay, so we have to wait next episode to see what happens, right? Well, the idea was you were going to rescue someone.
Yeah, I was going to rescue somebody from the clutches of the evil reptilians.
Did you have any impression of who that is?
I had a funny feeling it might have been a guide, actually. I don't know why, but I had an impression, actually just now it popped into my mind that the person I was actually rescuing was a guide, and so in fact was in no danger whatsoever.
Okay, well, again, it's your experience. It can go either way. So, and you have a gun in your hand, you have the option, and you decide to use that or not. Yeah, it's always an interesting experience. You're given choices. And I've seen the boys blow things away on the real side, etc. It's not as it seems. It's just they're usually just attitudes is what they are. I've seen them go in with swords and guns and whatever, and really it's not the people they're doing away with. It's the attitudes, you might say. So again, that's part of your adventure. Well, you'll figure it out. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes, that dream I had about 2 weeks ago, so I might be waiting a little bit longer for the sequel. So who knows what will happen? But yeah,
it's happening every day. We're living the sequels here every day. Things are very speeded up, so it's just paying attention. But it's basic things that we're going through, and you're getting many viewpoints to add to your awareness, so that this helps you to become more aware and see what's going on in creation, because we have to deal with it. And at the same time, we're here to do something. So it's many facets is what we're doing. So, and again, this is where, we get the knowledge first. All right, we start that, but then what are we going to do with it? You see? And look at the world and what's going on. And so are we going to share this? Or are we going to go out there and creatively share it and do something? Or are we just going to sit home with it and do what we've always done? So that's a choice too. So we earn your way. So you're partaking in the adventure just by doing this, etc. You're stepping up. And so at a step at a time, as things come along, more things will come, more things will show up. They always do, because of especially with what the world is doing. Things will always show up. So never a dull moment. So we're a little bit, what are we here? 10 after, so we're a little after the hour here. So you kids have been wonderful. Thank you so much. Was there anything else?
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Pierce
Is that
again.
Pierce? Go
yeah,
ahead.
just basically to back up what Kevin was saying. I've been getting impressions by the bucket load for the past 2 weeks, all the time, all the time. They just come into me. Different stuff. One's like it comes loads. I'm just flying like Superman, just flying, blasting off and just flying. Uh, Another one with the sun. Basically, I'm just on a beach and we're just meeting, like the sun's rising, and it just comes up and it's just there. Like I've been getting them. It's off the charts how I've been getting them. They're just like pictures coming from my mind. I mean, I'm not thinking about them. I could be thinking about something totally different, and they're just coming up in my head. It's like one after the other. It's awesome. It's wonderful. Yeah, I just wanted to back up basically what Kevin was saying about the impressions you get, because you do. And I've been getting them for nearly a week and a half, 2 weeks, very strong, more than I've ever experienced them before. Like what I'm getting, it's just unbelievable, off the charts. Thank you, Gwen. Just wanted to add that.
Well, thank you for sharing, you kids. You guys are great. Thank you so much. And yes, say hello to the Queen. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, me and Kevin are going to try and work from and do something anyway.
Yeah, funnily enough, Pierce saying that, I actually had a dream when I met the Queen briefly. I don't know. I don't know if I should mention it now, but I suppose there's a few moments.
Let rip.
I mean, here we are. I wasn't going to say this dream, but I thought, well, it seems an appropriate point to put it in. I was with my sister in this dream, and we were racing around a desert setting in buggies. And then, in the next scene, we were in a castle dungeon. We weren't prisoners, although other people in this dungeon clearly were, and I would find myself suddenly sat opposite the Queen of England. And I took it upon myself to remark on her being a reptilian. And her response was, she said to me, "Do I look reptilian to you?" And because she was there then in her, her human form. And then I went on to say, well, as I understand it, you're a shapeshifter and have the ability to change between human and reptilian form and whatever other forms take your fancy. And the most annoying thing about the end of the dream was that she suddenly started to divulge all sorts of information, but unfortunately, my sister, who was also in the castle but standing slightly to the right, started making a lot of noise, and noise to the extent that I couldn't hear what the Queen of England was saying beyond that point, but nevertheless, that was the dream.
Okay, well, that's cool. Yes, you had that experience, and of course she's going to deny it at first, and your sister too, because of how that is. Look at how your sister is. So that can be part of your personal self, and that is that the mind chatter and whatever gets in the way, because as we're in these experiences, we're pulling part of that personal self with us too, because it's part of the makeup. And so, but the real you did get the information. It's just that the personal you, bringing it back, that's the toughie. So this is where eventually, see, now we know that it's all in your real awareness. It's not to where you just have to struggle to collect all this information in your mind, you see? And so, yes, it's like your computer, your five bodies, they take in and they file things, but your real awareness eventually sees, when you have the ability to be aware, you see all of it. See, this is what's so cool about it. So you're utilizing something that makes sense, as opposed to just, again, struggling with this knowledge. And most of the knowledge is, so much of the knowledge or information we get here is distorted too. And on the real side, with your real awareness, you start to see through that also. So that's part of your fun adventure, isn't it? Yeah, you weren't a prisoner, but you were having the experience just to do that. So good for you. Yeah.
The only thing I heard between all of my sister or my personal self, as it may have turned out to be, the noise, the only thing I heard the Queen say, she mentioned the name Zachariah Sitchin, and for some reason that's the only thing I heard.
Well, there's something there, isn't it? So again, these are references that we use here of a particular. So while we're here, the whole idea for us is to eventually wake up to how to be creative, to relate to the true reality, to better recognize it. That's what creation is all about, not just building houses and buildings and growing food and having kids. There's a whole lot more to it. Those are some of the things we do. But the overall, just like you have a place to live, you go out there and work, you're part of society, you do something. The overall is to figure out how to recognize more so. And it's not just one time, it's endless, how to continually recognize the isness. That's why we're here. That was great, kids. We'll see you next time. Yes, thank you so much. It's a lot of fun. Yes, and thank Kelsey, too, for keeping track of all this. And, yes, go, Eric, go. Let's see what happens with the Africans. So we're cooking, aren't we? We'll see you kids next time.